Hello everyone, subscribe to my channel to not miss new trending manhwa.
An emergency alert flashes across a scene of urban destruction. With a wrecked car in the foreground, a car radio announces that a pack of grade for monsters, Belto, has appeared at Siadaman intersection, and the dispatch team includes grade 2 Awakener Spear Master Gamsangho. The radio transmission concludes, mentioning Team Zenkaku is also involved. A horde of large, ostrich-like monsters with blue plumage stampedes through the devastated city. Spear Master Gamsangho, clad in red, bravely confronts one of the towering Belto monsters. The Belto monsters let out guttural croaks and squawks as they advance. One of the Belto monsters unleashes a deafening, wide-mouthed shriek. Gamsangho winces, remarking that with 10 of them, their cries feel like his eardrums are going to burst as purple energy begins to emanate from him. He spits defiantly and unleashes a powerful surge of purple lightning-like energy upwards. The concentrated purple energy, shaped like a massive spear, descends upon the Belto monsters, one of which looks up in shock. Gamsangho, about to unleash his attack, utters a questioning "Ra" as a blue light appears. A brilliant blue flash erupts in the distance, drawing the attention of the Belto monsters with a loud boom. Suddenly, a massive wave of blue energy slices through several Belto monsters at once. Gamsangho turns his head sharply, exclaiming "What?" in complete surprise at the unexpected intervention. A red-haired female warrior praises him. "Captain, as expected of you, to take down this many Beltos in one strike." Gamsangho denies it, stating, "It wasn't me. I'm not a dealer specialized in wide-area attacks like the Blade Queen," as his companion looks on. Puzzled, he looks thoughtfully towards the source of the attack, while his confused teammate still has a question mark hovering over her. She asks, "Is there another Awakener unit dispatched here besides US?" To which Gamsangho replies, "Nitrogen monoxide. I haven't heard of any." Gamsangho muses, "That's strange. As far as I know, there's nitrogen monoxide one in the country with this level of ability," leaving his companion even more bewildered. The female warrior points to a pristine magic stone on a defeated Belto, exclaiming, "They hunted them, but left the magic stones behind. Those are the most valuable parts." As Gamsangho wonders what kind of situation this is, Gamsangho deduces that the clean cuts on the Belto monsters confirm it's an Awakener's doing. One with strength beyond a no. One grade who vanished, making him wonder about their goal. He then clicks his tongue and instructs his teammate to collect the magic stones and call headquarters for the corpse disposal team, to which she readily agrees. As his teammate gets to work, Gamsangho turns his head with a curious HM. His attention is caught by a nearby building, a diner simply named Diner. He remarks that if the pervert who only carved out the Belto breast meat had messed up, the corpses could have fallen on the diner, meaning the owner was quite lucky. Feeling a bit weary, Gamsangho stretches and declares he's in the mood to go into the diner for a drink. Meanwhile, two small birds chirp contentedly while perched on the hood of a pristine white car nearby. Suddenly, a man in a dark shirt walks down an outdoor staircase, ruffling his hair as the birds take flight. The same man, now on what appears to be a balcony or rooftop, wipes his face with a cloth. He then casually walks towards the entrance of the diner, the sliding doors opening. As he approaches, inside the diner, a hand with a blue glow turns on a gas stove burner. The man in the dark shirt places a frying pan onto the lit burner. He looks at a large slab of meat, a purple crystalline visor now obscuring his eyes. He gently places his hand on the pale Belto breast meat, with garlic and rosemary on the counter. Standing with his hands on his hips, he surveys his kitchen, seemingly contemplating his next move. Looking down at the substantial piece of meat, he wonders aloud, "Did I cut off too much Belto meat after all?" He then considers that the Belto corpses have likely been collected by now, and thinks about making some jerky. Suddenly, a knock at the door interrupts his thoughts, and a voice calls out, "Is Kang Chil-ho here?" At the diner's entrance, a man in a suit asks, "Are you Kang Chil-ho himself?" "I'm from the Awakener Association," to which Kang Chil-ho, now without the visor, replies, "Yes." The association man continues, "The thing is, a pack of Beltos attacked this area earlier. Fortunately, they were dealt with quickly, but you must have been quite startled." The association man explains he came to check for damages, to which Kang Chil-ho nonchalantly replies, "Yes." "Well, isn't that just everyday life?" The man adds that although the world has stabilized, these things happen, but luckily, with few residents here, the damage is minimal. He suddenly stops mid-sentence with a curious HM, a glint appearing near his nose as if he's caught a scent. "Wow," he exclaims, turning to Kang Chil-ho, "something smells delicious." Kang Chil-ho, with a slight smile, simply states, "Well, it is a diner." As the association man looks visibly excited, The association man, looking hopeful, asks if he could have breakfast since he's been working since dawn. And Kang Chil-ho readily agrees. Sure thing. The association man looks slightly taken aback by the easy acceptance. Stepping inside, the man exclaims, "Oh." The interior feels just like a diner from a drama aired before the gates appeared. Looking around for a menu, he asks for one. But Kang Chil-ho explains, we don't have a menu. We cook based on whatever ingredients we get each day. Now seated at the counter, the man inquires then, is there something like a daily special? To which Kang Chil-ho, busy in the kitchen, replies, you could say that. Kang Chil-ho, with a slight, confident smile, announces today's menu is belto steak. The association man looks completely flabbergasted, uttering a shocked belto. He then recalls, must be those guys from earlier. I saw 10 of them. Adding that thankfully Master Gamsang who took care of them, and they seem to be heading towards the market. Kang Chil-ho confirms, why yes, thanks to that, I was able to get a lot of fresh belto meat, while pouring oil or sauce into a pan with garlic, stating, they're ferocious, but their taste is exquisite. As the man repeats, belto meat, you say. Kang Chil-ho simply tells him, just try it as a steak, and the association man, leaning forward excitedly, thinks, well that sounds exciting, but then worries. Steak all of a sudden. I thought this was a casual diner. I hope I have enough money. Kang Chil-ho is shown skillfully slicing to thick, marbled steaks from the large piece of belto meat. He stands in his kitchen, grinding pepper over the prepared belto steaks. As a caption dramatically states, 30 years ago, a flashback begins, showing a younger, more disheveled Kang Chil-ho looking tired and sweaty. With the text, when I woke up, I was summoned to another world where dragons flew and monsters roamed. The flashback continues, depicting Kang Chil-ho in a chaotic, fiery landscape filled with battling monsters, including a large manhwa-like creature and a dragon in the sky, reiterating, I was summoned to another world. The scene zooms in on a terrifying, snarling red dragon facing off against a younger, determined-looking Kang Chil-ho. The flashback shows him gaining strength that surpassed even dragons. He recalls finally defeating the Demon King in a grand, magic-filled throne room, and by chance, he was able to return to Earth, looking somewhat regal, but the soul he knew was gone, replaced by a city under siege by a massive, dark, serpentine creature. Back in the present, grinding pepper, he reflects that during the 30 years he spent summoned, he fought the Demon King and saw monsters until he was sick of them. As he pours a rich sauce into the pan, he muses that he mastered their traits, weaknesses, and how to hunt them perfectly. But seeing people upon his return, he wondered if there was any need for him to step in again. While slicing the cooked steak, he thinks that the people of Earth, in their own ways and rules, were protecting the world. He pours the sauce over the plated steak, concluding that's the kind of era it's become. Kang Chil-ho, holding a spatula, looks directly at the viewer and simply states, done. The finished dish, belto steak, is presented beautifully, with a note indicating the main ingredient is belto breast meat and the sauce is caul milk. Kang Chil-ho invites him to try it, and the association man is visibly stunned by the dish, thinking it's incredible despite just wanting to fill his stomach. The association man decides to take a bite of the glistening belto steak. His eye widens in sheer amazement after the first taste. He exclaims how juicy the steak is, marveling that the very beltos causing him trouble are now soothing his frayed nerves. As Kang Chil-ho observes, the man quickly digs in, deciding it's not the time for overthinking. He savors another mouthful, and then licks his lips with satisfaction. Lost in the deliciousness, he figures it can't be too expensive and decides to splurge a little. With his plate licked clean, he eagerly asks for another belto steak, which Kang Chil-ho agrees to, musing that he'd hunted them for himself. After devouring the second steak, the man sighs with satisfaction, declares it was delicious, and asks for the bill. Kang Chil-ho informs him that he doesn't charge first-time customers, much to the man's surprise, who insist it was too good to be free. The association man, looking utterly refreshed, says that thanks to the meal, all of his fatigue has melted away, and insists on paying as he plans to return often. Kang Chil-ho gives a slight, knowing smirk in response. Relenting, Kang Chil-ho says then JUSD 10 bucks, and the man happily places the money on the counter beside his clean plate, exclaiming, all right. As he heads out, the association man thanks Kang Chil-ho for the meal and adds a no. And by the way, to which Kang Chil-ho, standing by the kitchen, replies, yes? The man advises Kang Chil-ho to stay safe, remarking that it's tough for non-awakeners and to evacuate if monsters appear nearby again. He then offers his card, noting that while the area is rebuilding with new establishments, it remains dangerous. Kang Chil-ho accepts the card from Ye Woo Choi, patrol unit of the Awakener Association. as Choi thanks him again for the meal and asks him to call if anything happens. As the diner door chimes, Kang Chil-ho looks at the card with a subtle smile, musing, "A tough era for non-awakeners." Watching Mr. Choi walk away, Kang Chil-ho thinks to himself, "Not a bad guy. Live long." Public servant. Alone again, Kang Chil-ho returns to the kitchen and begins slicing another perfectly cooked belto steak, presumably for himself. Kang Chil-ho, with a fork and knife, savors a bite of his own belto steak, remarking, as expected, "It's delicious." An owl-like creature with large eyes perches on a branch amidst urban ruins, hooting softly. Kang Chil-ho stretches inside his diner, thinking, "Another day of smooth business. I'll have one drink and head in." He contemplates a collection of colorful, scaly belto eggs, wondering, maybe I'll make some snacks with the belto eggs I bought earlier. How should I cook these? Suddenly, the diner door burst open with a loud slam, startling Kang Chil-ho, who is standing by the counter. Spear Master Gam Sang, who stands in the doorway, looking imposing, and announces, "Here you are." Kang Chil-ho turns his head slightly, looking somewhat surprised and questioning. Gam Sang, who, with a determined expression and glowing red eyes, declares, "I've come to retrieve my belongings." A flashback begins, showing Kang Chil-ho at the Siadaman traditional market a few hours ago, where a vendor is selling a medicine with boiled belto, and another is advertising, "We're buying monocrystals at a high price." The narration explains that since monsters appeared, livestock and fresh vegetables became their food, making basic ingredients scarce, forcing humans to reluctantly use monsters as a food source. The narration ponders if monster meat is popular because it tastes better than expected, or is much cheaper, noting that while artificial cultivation now provides enough meat and vegetables, monsters remain a famous food ingredient as various monster dishes are shown. Thanks to this, the Siadaman monster market grew, and as Kang Chil-ho walks through it, a vendor tells him, "These monster eggs have just arrived in a large amount. You should take a look." The vendor mentions, "It seems like the belto egg just appeared," but adds, "I'm not sure. The EGGS have been inspected by the Awakener Association, but as you know, monster EGGS look similar to one another, so I can't tell the difference." Kang Chil-ho activates his detect eye, his eyes glowing purple. The narration explains this is the artifact of Venus, the silver dragon who owns the northern mountain range of this world's empire, granting the ability to see the essence of a target, revealing item names and descriptions for belto and raptor eggs. He stole it when he caught the Demon King and still uses it a lot. He scans various eggs like belto, addo, and triceratops, noting that because he can know the power and tendency of a target and tell if someone is lying, he tries not to use it on people as much as possible. Kang Chil-ho decides, "I'll buy all this," as the vendor remarks, "You're buying a lot." And Kang Chil-ho thinks, "If I know the truth, I will only have regrets." He then notices a glowing blue egg among the others, thinking, why is there nitrogen monoxide information about that EGG? As his detect eye shows information for addo and raptor eggs beside it. Pointing to the crate of eggs, including the mysterious blue one, Kang Chil-ho tells the vendor, "Sir, give me that egg too." And the vendor replies, "All right." Back in his kitchen, Kang Chil-ho cracks one of the belto eggs into a pan. Its yolk a vibrant yellow, thinking, "Eating was a waste of time when I was in the middle of a battlefield." He pours cow milk into the sizzling pan, reflecting that he once thought delicious meals were a luxury, but now, only the delicious things remain. The finished dish is presented, belto scrambled eggs, with a note specifying the main ingredients as belto egg and cow milk. A flashback shows him eating with comrades on a battlefield, as he recalls that food and smell are good ways to remember a place, and he used to eat this with them. A female comrade asks if the cow milk makes it savory, to which he replies he's not sure, taking a bite of a sandwich. He thinks that the thick belto egg combined with the cow milk is very savory, and he also enjoys its soft texture. Sitting alone at a table, he finishes his meal, thinking it's delicious, and that if he closes his eyes, he's reminded of those past times. Leaning back, he gazes out the window, pondering the faces he misses and how he's starting to remember those he can no longer see, wondering if he's getting old. His thoughts then turn to the mysterious blue egg on a nearby table, as he wonders aloud if that egg couldn't be detected by his detect eye. The narration explains that, from what he knows, a dragon's artifact is naturally formed when a dragon is born, imbued with its power, as an image of a golden dragon appears. It further clarifies that this is why such artifacts exert a powerful force on other beings, but cannot be used on their own kind. Looking at the large, glowing blue egg, he wonders if it's a dragon egg, finding it unbelievable that he'd get one from the market. Holding the blue egg, he contemplates how it would taste and what dish he should prepare from it. just as the diner door is suddenly kicked open by a silhouetted figure. King Chil-ho, holding the blue egg, turns with HM as Gam Sang-hoo, now inside, asks, "Is this a restaurant?" Gam Sang-hoo, with a determined look and clenched fist, declares, "I came to find my item." Pointing directly at Kang Chil-ho, who is still holding the blue egg, Gam Sang-hoo exclaims, "So it is here." Kang Chil-ho activates his detect eye, his purple eyes glowing, thinking he can't get any information on this punk, and deduces he must be looking for the egg. Gam Sang-hoo, looking startled with wide eyes and a slight blush, directly asks King Chil-ho, "Are you a dragon?" King Chil-ho calmly remarks it's surprising that dragons also exist in this world, admitting he had his suspicions as Gam Sang-hoo, now surrounded by a fiery aura, stammers, "How?" Enveloped in an intense burst of flames, Gam Sang-hoo furiously demands, "How do you know my identity?" As Gam Sang-hoo's fiery aura scorches the diner floor, Kang Chil-ho coolly notes, "It's burned." While Gam Sang-hoo, mid-lunge, screams, "Answer my question, human." King Chil-ho explains he has no intention to fight and possesses an artifact called Detect Eye, adding that information on dragons is the only thing he can't see, prompting a shocked Gam Sang-hoo to yell, "Detect Eye? Why is a dragon artifact in your hand?" King Chil-ho casually says, "Oh, you know Detect Eye. Then this will be easy." As Gam Sang-hoo internally panics, realizing this isn't a normal restaurant owner and wondering how he can be so calm in front of a dragon, King Chil-ho calmly tells Gam Sang-hoo to take the egg, glad the owner came for it, but hopes he'll clean up first, to which the fiery Gam Sang-hoo scoffs, "How dare a mere human talk to me like this, oh?" Gam Sang-hoo spots a blue, scale-like knife hanging in the kitchen, wondering if it's a blue dragon's scale weapon, and Kang Chil-ho confirms it's a knife he usually uses in the kitchen, but it can be a weapon. Gam Sang-hoo then notices the cutting board, exclaiming, "The smell of that cutting board, dragon bone," and Kang Chil-ho simply replies, "Yeah." Gam Sang-hoo, enraged, thinks about the high value of dragon bone, scale, and flesh, furious that Kang Chil-ho is using them as kitchenware, declaring, "I can't forgive you." Gam Sang-hoo unleashes a powerful fiery attack, screaming, "Die, you insect-like human." Kang Chil-ho lets out a weary sigh, tilt, as Kang Chil-ho effortlessly deflects the attack with a blue energy shield. Gam Sang-hoo, now upside down in the air, complains, "Is IT so hard to clean up?" While Kang Chil-ho thinks, "As I thought." Kang Chil-ho, surrounded by blue energy and holding his Detect Eye artifact, thinks, "Dragons." He continues his thought have to be, as he prepares to strike with a purple energy-infused ladle. Kang Chil-ho swings the ladle, now a glowing purple weapon, towards Gam Sang-hoo, declaring, "Beaten up." Gam Sang-hoo, eyes wide with shock and a hush speech bubble, reacts to being struck. Kang Chil-ho, his eyes glowing with blue energy, finishes his thought, "Beaten up." As he swings his ladle, the ladle, now a makeshift weapon, connects solidly with Gam Sang-hoo's face, who thinks, "So they would listen." Gam Sang-hoo, dazed, thinks, "Oh my, I'm familiar with that voice. Where did I hear IT? Where?" Then recalls a memory of Kang Chil-ho saying, "There's nitrogen monoxide time, and I hate boring things. So I'll get to the point. I will catch the Demon King." In the flashback, a younger, more regal Kang Chil-ho confronts a massive dragon, demanding, "Give me the artifact. You don't even use IT, so just let me make good use of IT. If you don't cooperate, I'll beat you up and steal IT." The massive red dragon, surrounded by other dragons in ruins, exclaims, This crazy human is talking nonsense." A much smaller, younger red dragon, presumably Gam Sang-hoo, tries to warn his father, and "Oh, father, he's Miro like us," as Kang Chil-ho prepares to attack. The young Gam Sang-hoo clutches his head in terror, thinking, "I saw him 30 years ago, so I know him. Father is definitely going to get beaten up, Back in the flashback, Kang Chil-ho, surrounded by purple energy, looks down and remarks, A child." The young Gam Sang-hoo, now with a bleeding lip and a look of utter terror, screams as Kang Chil-ho tells him, "You shouldn't be watching this." Kang Chil-ho, seated calmly with the blue egg on the table, addresses the dazed Gam Sang-hoo on the floor. "You're awake. Then shall we talk? I want to talk about cleaning up." Holding a small cup, Kang Chil-ho continues, "After you finish cleaning up, I will let you take your stuff." Gam Sang-hoo, looking flustered and sweating, explains, "I don't really like dragons because of some personal reason. So if you don't listen to me, I have no choice but to use some violence," justifying his earlier outburst. With a look of intense frustration, Gam Sang-hoo begrudgingly starts scrubbing the diner floor with a rag. Kang Chil-ho observes, "It seems like you're not a native here since you know Detect Eye." To which Gam Sang-hoo, while cleaning, replies, I was born in the continent of Span. Not too long ago, I crash-landed in this world due to an open dimensional crack. Gam Sang, who looks up from his cleaning and asks if the continent of Span is connected to this world. As Kang Chil-ho muses that the monster's familiarity now makes sense. And Gam Sang, who concludes the egg must also be from Span. Kang Chil-ho reveals, in your place, my name was ManhwaRecap, and here, I'm Kang Chil-ho. Have you heard of it? Noticing Gam Sang, who has paused his scrubbing in shock, Kang Chil-ho chides, what's wrong? Your hands are not doing their job. As Gam Sang, who internally panics, I knew it, he's that guy. After Gam Sang, who finishes, Kang Chil-ho inspects the sparkling floor and says, oh, this is pretty clean. You can now go take your stuff. While Gam Sang, who looks on with a slightly sullen expression. Gam Sang, who, now standing with his arms crossed, confronts Kang Chil-ho, you. Why didn't you return father's artifact after killing the Demon King? To which Kang Chil-ho asks, who's your father? And Gam Sang, who replies, Ekmund Rex. Kang Chil-ho realizes that Dragon Rex, no wonder your aura is somehow similar. So you're that child back then, as Gam Sang, who with a spilled bucket nearby, exclaims, why yeah. Kang Chil-ho chuckles, ha, come here. I won't hit you. I stopped beating up dragons 30 years ago. But Gam Sang, who looking terrified, retorts, why you beat me up just now? Don't lie. While Kang Chil-ho adds, even if I don't know human age, I know that you haven't aged that much. Gam Sang, who, looking away and counting on his fingers, replies, 1, 2. I remember being a bit more than 50. When Kang Chil-ho asks, how old are you? Kang Chil-ho, seated with the blue egg on the table, states, so you're in your 50s. I'm older than you. I'm go now, as a small, chibi Gam Sang, who exclaims, are you an elf? Do you live for a long time like them? Kang Chil-ho, with a slight smile, asks, am I that handsome? To which a blushing Gam Sang, who stammers, and not exactly. Kang Chil-ho continues, anyways, punishment was the medicine for dragons who were disobedient back then. As Gam Sang, who shivers nervously in the background, Kang Chil-ho lets out a PFT, startling Gam Sang, who asks, WH what? And Kang Chil-ho remarks, it's funny seeing a dragon walking on eggshells because of a human. Gam Sang, who agitated, asks, dragons also get scared. You killed my kin. Are you also planning to kill me? But Kang Chil-ho, adjusting his collar, clarifies, I think there's a misunderstanding. That scale knife and cutting board were gifts. I did beat up some dragons, but I've never killed one. Gam Sang, who looks down thoughtfully as Kang Chil-ho explains, I'm sorry, but your father's artifact broke when I was fighting the Demon King, so I couldn't return it even if I wanted to. Adding with a small chibi thought, I'll apologize for that, but I really needed that artifact, although I forgot what artifact it is. Kang Chil-ho, noticing Gam Sang, whose contemplative silence, remarks, HMM. You seem like you have a lot to say. Then gestures to a bottle of soju and a shot glass on the table, asking, do you know how to drink? Gam Sang, who, flustered and blushing, indignantly exclaims, you. How can I drink with a mere human? Despite his outburst, Gam Sang, who immediately slumps face first onto the table, seemingly already affected by the alcohol or the situation. As Kang Chil-ho sips his drink, Gam Sang, who, still on the table, drunkenly slurs that Kang Chil-ho should be proud to be the first human to drink with the dragon, prompting Kang Chil-ho to muse he's earned another first human title. Kang Chil-ho, looking at the blue egg, asks Gam Sang, who if he laid it, remarking he's young for a dragon. But Gam Sang, who indignantly clarifies he's male, and the egg is his younger sibling. Kang Chil-ho, internally noting he thought dragons were hermaphrodites, asks younger sibling. As Gam Sang, who explains that not long ago, a dimensional rift opened in their dragon lair while his parents were away. Kang Chil-ho deduces Gam Sang, who became a dimensional stray, and asked how long he's been in this world. To which Gam Sang, who, still resting on the table, mumbles, HMM tilde about half a year. Kang Chil-ho comments that Gam Sang, whose situation is similar to when he himself returned to Earth. And Gam Sang, who, looking up slightly, asks with surprise, what? I heard that you went missing after killing the Demon King. You didn't come back right away. Kang Chil-ho explains he had some things to take care of in the other world, so he needed some time, while Gam Sang, who, head back on the table near the egg, slurs, I see. That's interesting. Gam Sang, who then asks, what is? Why are you hiding in this useless restaurant after saving the world? Disappeared and reappeared in another dimension as a light shines on the scene. Gam Sang, who continues his questioning, stating, a monster like you can take over the world easily. Monsters are also running around like crazy here. Don't you want the world to be in your hands? As Kang Chil-ho listens, Gam Sang, who, clenching his fist, asks Kang Chil-ho why he thinks that. then rants that humans are always greedy for power and war, even fighting amongst themselves after the Demon King was defeated. King Chilho, tapping his shot glass, replies that while Gamsanghu's point makes sense, he has no interest in such things. Leaning back with his hands supporting his chin, Kang Chilho simply states, "I'm bored of IT." Gamsanghu, looking unconvinced, says, "I don't believe the words of a human." To which Kang Chilho advises, "At least take good care of your one and only sibling." Gamsanghu, blushing and smiling, affectionately hugs the blue egg, cooing, "Yeah, my sibling. So pretty." Kang Chilho, looking a bit concerned as Gamsanghu squeezes the egg, says, I told you to take care of IT." The egg suddenly starts to crack with a Jack JJAK sound, and Gamsanghu looks down with a puzzled as light shines from within. A tiny, adorable white dragon hatchling with large, bright blue eyes emerges from the cracked egg, looking around and thinking, "What's this? EYES." Gamsanghu, still seated, looks utterly dumbfounded at the newly hatched dragon, exclaiming, "What?" The cute baby dragon, now fully hatched and sitting up with small wings, lets out a soft KYU as Gamsanghu joyfully exclaims, "My sibling." Gamsanghu joyfully exclaims, "My sibling is born," as Kang Chilho looks on with the questioning at the newly hatched baby dragon on the table, with a caption confirming the egg hatched and a baby dragon was born. Kang Chilho asks Gamsanghu, "What do you usually call IT?" To which Gamsanghu, cradling the hatchling, replies, "Hatchling, isn't that what you call baby dragons?" And adds, "I've been thinking of a name." As Kang Chilho holds the baby dragon, he inquires, "Is it a male or female?" Prompting an indignant Gamsanghu to declare, "My sibling is a female, and don't treat her like a beast." Kang Chilho examines the small dragon, observing, "She looks like a millet, but she already has some teeth. Are dragons omnivores?" Gamsanghu proudly states from the side, "She's my sister. She's cute, right? She's the cutest." As Kang Chilho looks at the hatchling, Kang Chilho gently strokes the baby dragon's head, simply agreeing, "Yeah." Gamsanghu, now seated with a determined look, asks Kang Chilho now, "Where are you going to take this hatchling?" To which Kang Chilho thoughtfully responds, Kang Chilho maintains a pensive expression, considering Gamsanghu's question. Kang Chilho suggests if you have a place to go, eat before you leave. As an exterior view of his diner is shown under a slightly overcast sky, rain begins to fall against the diner window, accompanied by the caption, "It was a desolate wind." A flashback shows a fierce storm, with narration explaining that the demon bastards moved with it, and the wind carried a strong stench of blood. The flashback continues, focusing on flowing white hair, as Gamsanghu recalls the last drink they shared and someone calling out Moreau. Gamsanghu remembers the smell of blood and seems to recall a moment of barely being alive. Back in the present, a delicious-looking rapid-growth hamburger steak made from Belto chicken breast and Triceratops foot pad meat is presented with a fork piercing it. Kang Chilho feeds a piece of the steak to the baby dragon, as Gamsanghu, looking flustered, asks if he's heading home and how much the meal cost. Kang Chilho tells Gamsanghu it's $10, but he can leave without paying, to which Gamsanghu, looking down, asks what is IT. Gamsanghu suddenly stands up and asks Kang Chilho if he offers lodging, but Kang Chilho replies that he doesn't. As Kang Chilho feeds the hatchling, he muses that being dropped into another world must have been lonely for Gamsanghu, despite always thinking dragons were proud. Gamsanghu slams a large purple crystal onto the counter, exclaiming, "I'll give you this." While Kang Chilho thinks that a lonely dragon would be a topic of many scholarly papers. Back in a span, Gamsanghu explains it's a grade for magic stone, and he knows it's valuable in this world. As the baby dragon lets out a little Kang Chilho covers his face, trying to suppress a laugh, as a chibi Gamsanghu indignantly asks, "Why are you laughing?" The baby dragon lets out a soft kururu, and Kang Chilho turns to it, asking, "Still hungry?" As he feeds the hatchling another bite, Kang Chilho muses, "Well, trying to live on Earth with this small one, even for a dragon, that'd be tough." A memory of a woman with flowing white hair calling out Moreau surfaces, and Kang Chilho thinks, "I guess I do miss the otherworldly a little too. I probably won't get to see her again while I'm alive." Gamsanghu looks visibly relieved and happy, the baby dragon beside him equally content. As Kang Chilho tells him, "Stay a few days, but you won't need that," thinking to himself, "Having someone to share secrets with, I guess it adds a little joy to life." While eating, Gamsanghu says, "Still, I can't keep relying on you like this. You even gave me food," and to which Kang Chilho, holding the baby dragon, simply replies, Kang Shil-ho makes a gesture with his hand, stating, "Got IT. I'll hold on to IT for now." As a wisp of dark energy appears, leading Gam Sang-hu with a question mark. Suddenly, a large column of black and blue energy erupts in the diner, causing Gam Sang-hu to exclaim, unsurprised, while Kang Shil-ho remains unfazed, still cradling the hatchling. From within the swirling energy, a sharply dressed goblin with a monocle materializes. Greetings, King of the World. It's been a very long time since you visited the subspace," with a caption identifying him as Kasim, the immortal goblin. Gam Sang-hu looks on in disbelief, asking, "A goblin?" While Kang Shil-ho explains, "A goblin who lives eternally. He manages the items in my subspace. It's been a while, Kasim. And I told you not to call me that." Kasim apologizes. "Now you're just ordinary Kang Shil-ho," and Kang Shil-ho, holding the hatchling, asks what brings him and then inquires, "How many magic stones do we have in the subspace?" Kasim gestures to a swirling vortex filled with countless crystals, replying, "As many as grains of sand on a beach," but specifies, "About 5 top-grade magic stones and 120 high-grade ones." Kang Shil-ho says, "I see," and hands Gam Sang-hu's purple crystal to Kasim, instructing, "Add this one too," as Gam Sang-hu stares in utter confusion and Kasim remarks, "Another grain of sand added." Kasim, holding the crystal, begins to sign off, ending the transmission here. "Wait, I should take that one out." Gam Sang-hu, still bewildered, thinks that if top grade is rank 1 here and magic stones are like sand to Kang Shil-ho, then, as Kasim presents a glowing item, Kang Shil-ho simply says, good," as Kasim starts to depart through the portal, saying, "Then I'll see you next time." King of the Woe, Kang Shil-ho firmly interjects, "No." Kang Shil-ho, with dark energy wisps around him, sternly corrects Kasim, ordinary Kang Shil-ho. Placing the baby dragon on the counter, Kang Shil-ho turns to a startled Gam Sang-hu and says, "Alright, I'd like you to help me with some work now." An exterior view shows the diner on a bright day, with leaves gently blowing in the wind against a clear blue sky. The little white dragon hatchling is shown sleeping peacefully on a soft cushion by the sunlit diner window. The baby dragon sleeps soundly on its cushion, oblivious to a fiery explosion erupting outside the diner window. Kang Shil-ho scolds Gam Sang-hu, telling him he needs to control his fire precisely for cooking, not just blast randomly, as Gam Sang-hu, holding a skewer with meat, replies, "Got IT?" Kang Shil-ho encourages Gam Sang-hu, "Okay, let's try again. Begin." As Gam Sang-hu attempts to cook the meat on the skewer with a controlled burst of flame, the perfectly cooked Idaho breath grill is presented, with a note indicating the main ingredients are Idaho sirloin and cons Gam Sang-hu's breath. And Kang Shil-ho remarks, "This should do." Gam Sang-hu asks Kang Shil-ho about the rapier he's using as a skewer. That rapier you pulled out of subspace earlier. It's not just any ordinary weapon, is it?" To which Kang Shil-ho casually replies, "Probably not." A flashback reveals the rapier is the Rekafel shaft, a masterpiece crafted by a dwarf artisan, hailed as a divine weapon, as Gam Sang-hu recalls its significance. Gam Sang-hu questions, "Why do you keep using priceless treasures for pointless cooking? That's not what a weapon like that is for." And Kang Shil-ho retorts, "Isn't it better than hoarding them like dragons and never using them?" Gam Sang-hu concedes, "Fair point," while internally thinking, "Seriously, he's so dragon-like," as Kang Shil-ho smirks. As they converse, a voice from the diner entrance calls out, "Hello, boss." Mr. Ye Woo Choi, the Awakener Association Patrol Unit member, stands at the entrance, saluting cheerfully and stating, "Just stopped by while making my patrol rounds." The sound of clattering dishes echoes as Gam Sang-hu washes a sink full of soapy plates. Mr. Choi, looking dapper, adjusts his tie and remarks, "Smells amazing today too." Noticing Gam Sang-hu in pink gloves washing dishes, Mr. Choi asks Kang Shil-ho, "Looks like you've hired new staff," to which Gam Sang-hu grumbles, "Yeah, something like that." Mr. Choi then shares important news. A new dungeon has appeared in the underground passage between Sinshin and Sia Damon. Sia Damon is also recruiting Awakened for this one. Kang Shil-ho, resting his hand, calmly responds, "Is that so?" While thinking, "A dungeon is forming, huh?" An ominous, glowing purple dungeon gate is shown. As narration explains, dungeons incubate monsters and act as gates summoning beings from other dimensions where rifts have formed. Kang Shil-ho muses, "It was the same with me, and considering Khan's case, it seems certain." When Kang Shil-ho asks about the difficulty, Mr. Choi estimates it to be grade 5, adding, "So in Sia Damon, Mr. Kim Sang-moo and Team Zenkaku will be deployed." A visual of Spear Master Gam Sang-hu in his red armor appears as Mr. Choi continues, and in Sinshin, Ms. Chaeyin will be leading a team. A powerful-looking woman with long blue hair and ice-themed attire is shown, as Kang Shil-ho thanks Chaeyin, and Mr. Choi clarifies, If Siadaman is protected by the spear midge, then Sinshin is guarded by the ice witch. Mr. Choi adds that just in case, they're forming a backup team too. So the plaza was packed with job seekers today, noting it hurts to see that these days, with so many awakened, only the best are selected. He remarks that it feels like looking at an old day labor site, and most of them probably have families, sometimes making him feel lucky to be an unawakened person with a steady job. Mr. Choi exclaims, "Ho, look at the time already," and thanks Kang Chil-ho for the meal as always. As the sound of a bell DDA, Roy Roong indicates his departure. Kang Chil-ho tells Gam Sang-woo, who is happily washing dishes in the background. The Ado roast I grilled is getting a good response, and Gam Sang-woo replies, "Seems like IT." Kang Chil-ho holds a crumpled bill, thinking, "Maybe I should buy more Ado meat." At an outdoor butcher stall under a purple-hued sky, Kang Chil-ho requests, "Tangyun of Ado sirloin, please," and the butcher asks, "Sure, would you like IT sliced?" Kang Chil-ho, amidst a crowd, replies, "Whole, please," as an announcement is made. "Those wishing to join the raid, please form a single line over here." Walking through the crowd, Kang Chil-ho glances at the spear master Gam Sang-woo and other awakeners, thinking, "That guy looks familiar. Who was he again?" He then recalls, "Alright," the spear mage, Kim Sang-woo, supposedly agreed to awaken, and realizes, so this is where the raid recruitment I heard about earlier is happening. A digital notice board displays various raid recruitment ads, as Kang Chil-ho muses these days. Dungeon assault groups are called raid parties. It's similar to the old game systems. I used to play games a long time ago too. That helped me understand this all pretty quickly. He muses that with the world becoming like a fantasy game, old terms naturally stuck around. And that wasn't the only parallel, as he observes a crowd of awakeners. Kang Chil-ho notes that while tanks and healers are highly valued, DPS roles are always oversaturated, likely due to the wider variety of DPS classes, resulting in many awakeners specializing in damage. A man desperately asks for a DPS spot, boasting of his strength, only to be told they need healers, leading Kang Chil-ho to think that without exceptional offensive skills, finding work is tough. He recalls Mr. Choi's earlier sentiment that most of these struggling awakeners probably have families to support. Kang Chil-ho, with a serious expression, thinks to himself, really. He reflects on Choi Jae-woo, considering him a good person, but wishing he'd be a bit more concerned about his own well-being. As he watches Choi depart, Kang Chil-ho reaches into his pocket while walking down the street. He pulls out his wallet, revealing it to be practically empty. With his backpack on, he lets out a weary sigh, HAA. He then firmly grips the handle of his bag, seemingly making a decision. Back in his diner, Kang Chil-ho calls out for Khan, wondering if he went inside first and noticing the kitchen is already clean. He looks around with a thoughtful expression, seemingly alone. A tired-looking man appears at the diner's sliding door, asking hopefully, "Are you still open?" Kang Chil-ho places a container on the counter for the man, who gratefully says, "Oh, thank you." The customer hesitantly asks, "Do you serve ramen by any chance?" "I'm sorry if you don't." To which Kang Chil-ho, now wearing an apron, calmly replies, "It's fine, just give me a moment." As Kang Chil-ho reaches for a packet of instant ramen, he muses, "How unusual." Well, ramen being a cheap meal substitute hasn't really changed in the past 30 years. The price has gone up, and the flavor's a bit different now that they use something other than wheat noodles. The man inquires, how much is a bowl of ramen?" And Kang Chil-ho, holding the ramen packet, simply states, $2. Astonished by the affordability, the man exclaims, that cheap, and then eagerly asks, "Then, could I order 5 bowls?" Kang Chil-ho, slightly surprised, questions, 5 bowls? Will you be able to eat all that? But the man insists, "Yes, absolutely. Please, I'd really appreciate IT." Observing the desperate customer, Kang Chil-ho thinks, "What's this?" and activates his detect eye, his eyes glowing with a purple hue. Kang Chil-ho's detect eye reveals the man's status, alignment good, class god of food, lowest proficiency, high acquisition ability, and he recalls a former teammate having that ability. He remembers that the god of food ability means the more you eat, the stronger you get, with ingredient quality significantly boosting the effect, especially with high-grade monsters. However, he also recalls that this particular ability is extremely weak in its early stages. It's tough to utilize it effectively until one can consume meat from powerful monsters to grow, and a major drawback is constant hunger, though it improves once a certain proficiency level is reached. Kang Chil-ho deduces the man hasn't reached that proficiency yet, then announces, "Your ramen is ready." As he opens a packet, he presents an extra-large ramen with grilled Ado meat topping, a massive bowl filled with noodles and generous slices of meat. The customer is utterly stunned by the sight of the lavish ramen, and even more so when Kang Chil-ho, in a small chibi form, tells him, "It's on the house," prompting a disbelieving really. King Chil-ho reflects that good people often suffer, especially in chaotic times, and admits he might have ignored the man despite his god of food class if his alignment hadn't been good. As the customer eagerly lifts a piece of at-home meat, King Chil-ho explains that given his high ability rating, the meat should have a good effect, adding that he treats the first customer of the day to encourage repeat business. The customer gratefully takes a bite of the at-home meat, exclaiming, "Thank you so much." He savors the flavor with a blissful mmm, his face flushed with pleasure. He marvels, "I had nitrogen monoxide idea that meat could be the savory and aromatic." And King Chil-ho, arms crossed, compliments him, "You've got a good palate." The man then eagerly slurps down the noodles and drinks the remaining broth, directly from the enormous bowl. Holding up the impeccably clean bowl, he declares with satisfaction, "That was amazing." He thanks King Chil-ho profusely, "Thank you sulfur monoxide much, boss. I really enjoyed the meal thanks to you," to which King Chil-ho replies, "Don't mention IT. I'm just glad you enjoyed IT." Suddenly remembering the bill, the man gasps, "Oh right, the money," gasp, and fumbles in his pockets, dropping a few coins. He pulls out a small box containing a folded blue necktie, looking at it and questioning, this? A necktie?" As he also gathers some crumpled bills. Offering the money, he apologizes, "Sorry, the money's so dirty. Thank you for serving such good food," and King Chil-ho accepts it, saying, "No problem." Looking significantly more refreshed, the customer waves goodbye, promising, "I'll be back again next time," as he departs from the diner. Gam Sang-hu, wiping a dish, asks King Chil-ho when he got back. As King Chil-ho notes, the customer's clothes were covered in dust and he had a brand new necktie. King Chil-ho wonders if the man was trying to impress someone, recalling he must have had a hard life, but then admits he quickly forgot about it. As Gam Sang-hu says there's no need to wash a particular pot, King Chil-ho states that though not long after, he saw that man again, who is shown walking near a bus stop. A close-up shows King Chil-ho's serious expression as cracking sounds are heard. King Chil-ho looks up as a massive, ornate gate surrounded by dark energy explodes in the purple-hued sky above the city. The gate opens, revealing a swirling blue-green portal high above the cityscape, with many people and cars below. The man from the diner approaches a barricade where awakeners are warning civilians that it's dangerous to enter and to please step back from a dark energy anomaly. The man earnestly asks to a white-haired awakener at the barricade, "I'm an awakener. Is there anything I can do?" And the awakener replies, "What about your rank?" The man stammers that he's in something related to food and has no special skills but good strength, while the awakener tells him this isn't a dungeon for average awakeners, as even their team members returned injured due to the gate's intensity. As the awakener advises the man to evacuate, a woman with long dark hair is shown in the foreground, her hands glowing with green healing energy as she tends to an injured person, looking surprised. The dark-haired woman tending to the injured, a student, looks up in surprise, uttering, "Mijin," while the man, her father, simultaneously asks, "Dad?" The man, completely shocked, rushes towards his daughter, yelling, Mijin, Mijin." He questions Mijin about her presence in such a dangerous area and why she isn't at school, to which she explains that due to the high number of casualties, the school dispatched Awakener students to provide support. Mijin then turns the question back on her father, asking what he's doing there, and he insists he'll handle the situation and urges her to leave quickly, but she retorts, "I'm worried, you know." Looking distressed, Mijin confronts her father, worried. "You said the only thing your ability is good for is eating. You eat and work every day. Eat and work, and you don't even come home. Do you really think throwing yourself into danger among the injured is worth it?" She continues, explaining, "I said I needed money, so I came out to get a scholarship. But you're making me look even more pathetic by stepping in like this. Just go and evacuate." As she attempts to push him away from the danger. As she pushes him, the small box containing the blue necktie falls to the ground, and Mijin stares at it, murmuring, "Nck-tai." Looking up at her father, she points out, "Dad, you don't even have a proper weapon." Just then, a foot clad in a red boot, surrounded by a swirling blue aura, firmly steps onto the pavement nearby with a kung sound effect. Spear Master Gam Sang-hu and his red-haired female teammate arrive, observing the father and daughter amidst the crowd of other awakeners and onlookers. The red-haired female awakener announces, "Dungeon raid complete, great work, everyone," and calls for healers to tend to the injured. Mijin, with a determined expression, rushes forward, exclaiming yes as her father watches her go. The father's feet are shown as he walks away, with repeated thanks for his effort echoing around him. The word class is displayed, as a hand wipes a large kitchen knife. explaining it refers to the types of abilities an awakener possesses. An infographic details 5 stages to reach master-level proficiency, mentioning that in Korea, Cipher School serves as a training ground for awakeners. It's explained that after mastering a first class, an awakener can choose a second based on their environment and will, illustrated by a character and various ability icons. Mastering to classes earns a rank 1 or higher status from the Awakener Association, a feat difficult for ordinary humans, as a powerful awakener is depicted. Slices of marbled meat are shown, as the narration explains that if someone awakens with a useless ability or has a slow growth rate, Mijin runs ahead while her father stands still, and the text concludes it's natural for them to find peace in activities that suit them. The words 6th class appear above Kang Chil-ho's determined face, framed by glowing meat, as he declares in the final battle, "I mastered my 6th class." Kang Chil-ho, standing in his kitchen, reflects that after mastering his 6th class, he saw no signs of gaining another, concluding, "I guess this is the limit," and lets out a big yawn. UWAAH. Gam Sang-who burst into the diner, looking flustered, and stammers, "Mimaro, Chil-ho." "Why yeah, Chil-ho, something really big just happened." The adorable baby dragon, Kyul, is shown with big blue eyes, making a Q sound. As Gam Sang-who explains, Kyul suddenly spoke while chewing on taffy and wonders aloud, "Kyul? Orange in Korean?" Gam Sang-who, holding Kyul, tells Kang Chil-ho, "It's this brat's name anyway, that's not important. Just look at this," while cooing to the dragon, Kyul, "Papa, say Papa," and noting, its ears is quiet firm though. Kyul, being cradled by Gam Sang-who, joyfully exclaims Kyul, and then Papa Papa. Kang Chil-ho, covering his mouth in surprise, states "IT talked," as Gam Sang-who smiles proudly and Kyul continues to chant, "Pa Papa Pa Papa." Kang Chil-ho, looking a bit thoughtful with his hand to his chin, clears his throat and asks, "AHEM, but doesn't the name sound too Korean?" Adding, "It even named itself Cool, and after all, IT was born in this world." Gam Sang-who, beaming and holding Kyul, who is happily calling him P Papa, "Papa," proudly asks Kang Chil-ho, "You hear that? This dragon calls me Papa." To which Kang Chil-ho calmly replies, "Yeah, I heard IT." Kang Chil-ho turns to Gam Sang-who, who is still holding Kyul, and muses, "They say dragons are born having already mastered 1 class. What kind of class did Kyul master?" While Gam Sang-who replies, "I'm also curious. I think we'll have to wait until she grows a bit more." As the diner door chimes open with a DDAL ring sound, a voice calls out, "Boss," causing Kang Chil-ho to turn and Gam Sang-who, still holding Kyul, to look startled. The man from before, looking tired, stands at the diner entrance and asks, "Can I get 5 bowls of ramen right now?" Gam Sang-who, in the background, thinks, "How do I end up running a real restaurant?" While Kang Chil-ho and the customer are at the counter. The customer explains, "Today, I went to see if I could join a Rampaging Gate party, and I ran into my daughter. She said if she helps treat the injured, she can get a scholarship, but that's a dangerous place." He continues, "I couldn't even speak up or help her. They told me to evacuate, since I'm just a level 7 awakener. Basically nitrogen monoxide better than a civilian." He adds, "On the other hand, my daughter awakened a healing type ability at a young age, and she was recognized as a 3rd-class awakener. She's also a top student at school, so she'll probably be highly treated by the Awakener Association." He looks out the window, saying, "She's the girl you saw last time. I went to the school in my daughter's place because they said there was a class observation day. It's just too expensive." Holding the blue necktie, he says, "I thought I should at least buy something to attend her school. And IT turns out I could barely afford a single necktie." He clenches his fist, lamenting, "Anyway, I think it's better if I don't attend the class observation. What's so great about a father who can't even support his daughter to graduate properly?" He covers his face in despair, exclaiming, "Ha, even in this situation, I'm still hungry. Ha. God damn it." Kang Chil-ho listens as the man says, "I'm somewhat as useless as a food-related awakener, but I still have to eat like this, so that maybe I can be deployed to a site where buildings collapse from a gate explosion." Kang Chil-ho turns to Gam Sang-who, who is holding something red, and asks, "Kan, what's wrong?" Gam Sang-who, looking flustered, asks Kang Chil-ho if he'd be okay with being fattened up, then angrily accuses him of waiting for him to gain weight like a predator. Kang Chil-ho says he was just joking, and Gam Sang-who, relieved, explains that the red item is Kyul's shed skin. As Kang Chil-ho stares at the shed skin, Gam Sang-who questions his intense gaze, to which Kang Chil-ho replies he carefully collected them. Gam Sang-who exclaims in distress that he was going to keep the shed skins as a memento. As Kang Chil-ho looks on seriously, a dish is presented, Ado extra large ramen, with ingredients listed as grilled ado meat and grilled kule shed skin, with a small image of kule. King Chilho serves the ramen to the customer, explaining it's from last time, then they have leftover meat, while Gamsang-hu in the background despairs over my collection. The customer takes a bite of the meat from the ramen with chopsticks, clearly enjoying it. King Chilho watches as the customer eagerly gulps down the ramen. The customer, having finished the entire pot, leaves crumpled money on the counter and says, "Thank you for today's meal." The customer thanks King Chilho for listening to him vent, and King Chilho simply replies, "Don't mention it." As the customer shuffles away, the diner door chimes, and King Chilho watches him depart with a stoic expression. King Chilho calls out, "Customer," and as the man turns, he remarks, "Life really is full of things that aren't easy," to which the customer wistfully agrees, "Yeah, it'd be nice if at least one thing were easy." King Chilho continues, "But still, for those who live their lives working hard every day, good things still happen from time to time." He offers encouragement, "Your best to survive tomorrow as well. I'll be waiting here." Just like always. With a slight, knowing smile, King Chilho adds, "So come again." Gamsang-hu, holding kule, peeks from the kitchen doorway and asks why there's no change in the customer, while King Chilho, arms crossed, states, "I helped as much as I could. He ate a dragon shed skin, so it must have been quite helpful." Gamsang-hu, cradling the baby dragon, exclaims, "That's a precious item. What's the reason for helping him?" King Chilho looks away thoughtfully, a small cue sound emanating nearby. As he considers the question, he gently pats Kule's head, the baby dragon purring contentedly, and King Chilho quietly says, "My father also had a back like that once." Gamsang-hu in chibi form floats above a night cityscape with a full moon, remarking, "So, you had a father too, huh?" While another chibi Gamsang-hu below looks pensive. The man from the diner, the god of food awakener, warily enters his small, dimly lit apartment kitchen. His daughter, Mijin, with long blue hair, is shown sleeping soundly in her bed, a sliver of moonlight illuminating her. The father watches his sleeping daughter, thinking, "Necktie she picked it up," and then seems to recall her calling him dad. Mijin, still asleep, but with tears welling in her eyes, murmurs, "Dad, sorry." Her father gently strokes her hair, whispering back, "It's fine. I'm sorry too." He sits by her bed, gazing out the window as sunlight streams in, apologizing for not living like everyone else, for being a father she might be ashamed of, and for not providing a comfortable life. He carefully tucks her in, adding with heartfelt emotion, "But I always love you." The next day, the father is out on the street at dawn, energetically calling out, "One dealer. Last spot, over here. I'm here, trying to join an awakener party." He approaches an armored awakener recruiter, who requests, "Please show your awaken registration card," as the father, slightly out of breath, reaches for it. The recruiter recognizes the man, asking, "Huh, you? Aren't you the man from last time? What is your name?" To which the father replies, "UH, Kim Manho." The recruiter confirms, "Right? You're that man. I mean that man who fell out during the dormant section incident." And Manho asks, "Where was that?" "In the Yongdongpo dungeon." The recruiter notes it would be a problem if that happened again, as it was a raging gate, but says Team Zenkaku took care of the boss, so they should be fine, encouraging Manho, "Do your best this time, okay?" To which Manho eagerly replies, "Yes." As the recruiter announces, "All right, recruitment is complete, everyone, gather up. Let's depart." Manho and other awakeners look towards the ominous, glowing purple dungeon gate in the sky. Meanwhile, King Chilho casually walks down an outdoor staircase. As to small birds take flight with the JJAK sound, King Chilho continues walking, passing by a large vehicle. The back of a bus or large van with Zenkaku written on it speeds away. King Chilho, standing outside his diner, looks thoughtful with the HMM speech bubble. A different group of awakeners, including a blonde woman, looks up at the same ominous purple gate swirling in the sky. Spear Master Gamsang-hu and his female teammate arrive at a chaotic scene, with Gamsang-hu asking, "Demit, how is the current situation?" and his teammate exclaiming, "The gate is closed." A female awakener reports that, according to current information, only the Crystal Company's party, composed of Class 5 to 7 members recruited at dawn, has entered as Mijin looks on worriedly, calling out, "Dad, Dad." The same woman states it seems a hidden boss has appeared, while Mijin, amidst a crowd, looks up in distress towards a dark, ominous energy, murmuring, "Dad." Inside a dense jungle, an awakener leader instructs his team, including Manho, not to scatter and to watch each other while dealing with minor monsters, as someone exclaims, "Whoa!" Suddenly, a large, green, dinosaur-like monster with sharp teeth lunges at a terrified Manho, letting out a screech. The monster viciously bites down on Manhwa's arm as he screams in agony. Manhwa, surprisingly unharmed, feels a strange surge of energy and wonders why he isn't hungry yet, remarking, "What a relief, I'm strangely overflowing with energy." A red-masked female awakener looks back in shock, exclaiming, what's that?" As Manhwa stands behind her, seemingly unfazed. A massive, dark, crack-like rift appears in the sky above the jungle, identified as a rift inside the dungeon. Two awakeners, a man and a woman, stand ready in the jungle, alert to the new development or an unseen enemy. A gigantic, clawed reptilian foot slams heavily onto the jungle floor with a thud. A massive, green Tyrannosaurus-like monster roars, and an awakener exclaims, "Damn it. It's a hidden boss." Manhwa looks up in wide-eyed shock, with the words hidden boss displayed ominously. An explanation clarifies that a hidden boss is another boss concealed within the dungeon, usually appearing when an additional dimensional rift opens, which is very rare. The narration continues that when this happens, the minion cleanup squad mostly dies. As the awakeners face the newly identified monster, Tigrex, one awakener shouts, "It's coming this way, hurry," as he and a female teammate start to flee. Manhwa, however, stops, a bead of sweat rolling down his face as he looks back with determination. He spots a large, glowing purple mana crystal embedded in the corpse of a smaller, defeated reptilian monster. Manhwa thinks that even at a glance, it's a grade B crystal worth a week's wages, and with it, he could buy Mijin something nice to wear and feed her tastier food. The Awakener leader calls out urgently, Mister, are you crazy? Come quickly." As Manhwa remains near the crystal, Manhwa reaches for the mana crystal, thinking, "Just this, if I just have this." The massive Tigrex lunges forward, its jaws wide open, ready to devour Manhwa. Manhwa is sent flying backward by a powerful blow from the Tigrex, the impact echoing through the jungle. As he's thrown, Manhwa has a stark realization, thinking, "Oh, so this is what Mijin meant by pathetic." He recalls a painful memory of Mijin looking at him with disappointment, as he thinks, "Even until the very end, I was foolishly." A flashback shows a younger Mijin, tears streaming down her face as she lies down, seemingly heartbroken. Another memory surfaces, Mijin in her school uniform, flashing a peace sign, likely at her school entrance ceremony. The memories continue, showing an even younger Mijin holding a newspaper, then crying while clutching a teddy bear, possibly at a funeral. A close-up of baby Mijin being held, with her thought bubble saying, "Dad, I'm sorry." Back in the present, Manhwa's eye widens with a sudden, fierce determination. He thinks with resolve, "I can't die like this. I can't leave Mijin all alone in this world." As he stumbles in the jungle, Manhwa defiantly faces the Tigrex, declaring, "I'm telling you, I can't die here." The Tigrex is massive. Clawfoot digs into the ground with a quadric sound. The Tigrex lunges, its immense form dwarfing a fleeing awakener as Manhwa thinks, "Me here." Manhwa, with a determined and desperate expression, thinks, "Absolutely not." He screams with all his might, "I can't die now," as a red aura begins to emanate from him. Manhwa, now enveloped in a powerful red aura, surprisingly blocks the Tigrex's massive jaws with his bare hand. His fist glows intensely with red energy, pulsing with newfound power. The Awakener leader looks back in utter shock, exclaiming, That's rank up." Manhwa, surrounded by the swirling red energy, wonders in disbelief, "Did I block the hidden boss?" He looks at his fist, realizing, "The fist I clashed with doesn't hurt. I'm not hungry." As the Tigrex looms before him, Manhwa, with newfound strength, pushes back against the charging Tigrex, thinking, "For the first time in my life." The massive jaws of the Tigrex are forcefully held at bay by Manhwa's incredible power. The Tigrex roars in frustration, visibly struggling against the unexpected resistance from Manhwa. As blue energy crackles around them, Manhwa's foot digs firmly into the earth as he declares, "I'm holding on." With a determined and sweating face, Manhwa grits his teeth, thinking, "I'll keep holding on like this." A powerful-looking, ornate spear slices through the air, signaling the arrival of other Awakeners. The Awakener leader and his female teammate turn back in surprise, the leader asking if they evacuated and the teammate pointing, there, at Manhwa's feet. From a low angle, Manhwa is seen single-handedly holding back the colossal Tigrex, prompting the leader to wonder, what's with that mister? Did he block a grade to Tigrex all by himself? The leader, with a blue-haired female Awakener preparing an ice attack behind him, smirks and comments, "Seems like he's an amazing mister." Manhwa, still straining against the monster, surprisingly thinks, "I should get his business card." Manhwa's status window pops up, showing his Shikshin class with good tendency and high acquired ability. As he pushes against the monster, the Shikshin ability is explained as one that reflects an opponent's attack. making it more like a tank, a special DPS tank hybrid. Kang Chil-ho reflects that in terms of Korean Awakener grades, it's a decent ability, at least grade 3, but not everyone understands it properly. With the situation resolved, the Awakener leader helps Manhwa up, wondering if he should head back at the diner, the baby dragon Kyul lets out a big, adorable yawn. A radio broadcast announces that the hidden boss Tigerex was defeated, with grade 7 Awakener Mr. Kim Manho surprisingly playing the biggest role, as Kyul listens. The news report details how Manho ranked up to Shikshin grade 3, while enduring the boss's ultimate skill alone, becoming the key contributor. The broadcast concludes that the Awakener Association deemed his previous grade assessment incorrect, and will issue a large reward and corrective measures. Kang Chil-ho picks up Kyul, asking if the little dragon was reading the newspaper. He comments that Kyul has gotten heavier, and the baby dragon calls out, "Papa, a papa." Kang Chil-ho tells Kyul, "I am not your dad," but the hatchling insists it's Papa. Papa, snuggling closer. Kang Chil-ho holds Kyul, saying good grief, as the radio announces, "We'll bring you the next news." The radio reports that due to a petty thief rampant recently, many merchants in Siadaemun-gu are suffering headaches, as Kang Chil-ho pets Kyul. The news specifies the thief is obsessed with shiny things and foodstuffs, causing low-grade mana crystals to disappear, and the public wants the Awakener Association to step in, while Kyul looks happy. As the radio advises caution, Kang Chil-ho thoughtfully considers a petty thief obsessed with shiny things and foodstuffs, huh? While Kyul behind him seems to be playing with something. Kyul offers Kang Chil-ho a cup of the wumble sound, and he asks, "You want me to drink it? Water?" Gam Sang-hu dramatically burst in from what looks like a bathroom, shouting, "You don't drink that water, Kang Chil-ho." Gam Sang-hu, looking rather grim, questions Kang Chil-ho's early morning unpleasant aura and warns that the water contains a lot of germs. Gam Sang-hu explains that Kyul learned about wells from a picture book, and Kang Chil-ho, listening to the radio, acknowledges this as Gam Sang-hu clarifies a well is for drawing drinking water. Kang Chil-ho, with an intense gaze, confirms that's right as Gam Sang-hu explains that to Kyul. The toilet and the well look similar. Mr. Choi appears, ecstatically exclaiming, "WAAH boss, this cake doogie is really delicious. Did you make this batch recently?" A dish of cake doogie is presented, with a note from Kang Chil-ho saying he recently got some good ingredients from the Sinshin area. Mr. Choi, seated at the diner counter, cheerfully greets Kang Chil-ho. "Boss, hello." Kang Chil-ho welcomes Mr. Choi, who explains, "A welcome. I came with a companion today," gesturing to a man in a leather jacket behind him. Mr. Choi introduces his companion, a man with somewhat shaggy brown hair and a serious expression, as Captain Gam Sang-ho. Kang Chil-ho politely greets Captain Gam Sang-ho, saying, "Hello. I've heard a lot about you," while Gam Sang-ho internally notes, he's surprisingly polite. Later, at what appears to be an office, Mr. Choi enthusiastically greets Image Lanternim. "Hello," as Spear Master Gam Sang-ho in his civilian attire and another man in a suit arrive, with Gam Sang-ho acknowledging, "Yes, the Awakener Association." Gam Sang-ho formally says, "Yes, hello. It's a nice afternoon," though he internally grumbles. If it weren't for the joint meeting, it would have been a really nice afternoon. As Mr. Choi and the other man look on, the other association man then excitedly points to someone standing beside Gam Sang-ho, exclaiming, "Oh my gosh, the person next to you is Shikshin, isn't he?" While Gam Sang-ho asks, "Shikshin? You say?" The association man gushes, "This is Shikshin Kim Manhonim, who performed incredibly in the Sinshin Tunnel raid boss battle a while ago." Boss? Goodness. Word spread all over the world about how amazing he was back then. Plus, so here, you get famous. A modifier gets attached to your name. Kim Manho, looking humble and smiling warmly, replies, "It's thanks to you, boss." Kang Chil-ho, with a slight smile, replies, "Not at all. I was just waiting for you to come to the restaurant." Mr. Choi, standing by the table where the civilian-clothed Gam Sang-ho is seated, asks Kang Chil-ho, "Shall I get you ramen today as well?" To which Kang Chil-ho agrees, "Yes, I'll have that." The civilian Gam Sang-ho chimes in from his seat, "I suddenly crave ramen too. I'll have the same." And Kang Chil-ho confirms, "Yes," that announces with a tack sound, "The ramen is here." A large, steaming pot of ramen is presented, with the chibi Gam Sang-ho exclaiming, "That much all at once? You're amazing, mister." And a chibi Mr. Choi laughing, "Ho ho ho." The civilian Gam Sang-ho tells Mr. Choi, "Since you finish eating, please head off first. You said you have to go to your daughter's school today, right?" While Mr. Choi looks a bit hesitant, replying, "Still, I feel bad leaving first." Kang Chil-ho, reading a newspaper, reassures Mr. Choi, It's okay. It's better to enjoy your private life after work. In our case, we're always on standby. So rest when you can, and Mr. Choi responds, then, I'll be taking my leave first. As the diner door chimes DDAL rang, Kang Chil-ho, still engrossed in his newspaper, muses. The relationship between those two doesn't seem so bad. Kang Chil-ho looks up from his newspaper with a HM and thinks, it's too quiet. As jam sound effects suggest someone dozing off, he turns to see the civilian Gam Sang-who slumped over his bowl of ramen at the table, with KKUBOK sound effects indicating he's nodding off. A close-up reveals the civilian Gam Sang-who fast asleep, his head resting on his arm on the table, still accompanied by the KKUBOK sound effect. Kang Chil-ho, looking slightly annoyed, thinks damn it, as he watches the civilian Gam Sang-who sleep. A flashback or dream sequence begins, where a man in a fedora angrily confronts a younger Gam Sang-who, shouting, "Hey, you crazy bastard. Are you out of your mind?"